The hacker, Nick.
I actually have shut down a website once.
Okay.
You said in prison. You just said.
Okay. Now you're doing your crime you think you can get away with. You go to prison, and old Bubba comes, hey, boy. Hey, boy.
Yeah.
I want you, boy. What are you going to do?
I can't do anything if he's like, oh, I have to
So you're just going to submit?
No.
So what are you going to do?
Grab it.
Okay.
Like,
It's a start. This show is about a 12-year-old from West Virginia asking Larry Lawton questions. And I've never had that, so this is going to be a little bit different. I don't know what the questions are. I have not a clue. I think the producer, Nick, might know, but I don't know. So Noah is my neighbor's grandson. So he's an interesting young guy, a lot of fun, nice family. All right, buddy, go.
So how exactly did you really run into the mob?
How exactly did I run into the mob? I grew up around the mob. Where I grew up is not like West Virginia. We lived in New York City. I was actually in the Bronx at the time, and I was a young person. And I was your age, 12 years old, when I started to bookmake. Like that's cool. You know, where you do illegal tickets, football tickets, so people can gamble and they can take a shot. And if they win, you pay them. If they lose, you keep the money.
So kind of like forgery?
No, not forgery. This is gambling, illegal gambling.
Oh, underage gambling.
Illegal. Gambling is not legal.
In New York?
It's not legal anywhere unless you're a casino.
Oh, yeah.
But I was a bookmaker, and I was taking bets in the area of football tickets. So that's how my introduction went. My neighbor was a gangster, a made man. Many people on my block and around the block were all gangsters.
Okay. Now question number 2. What made you want to start your criminal life?
What made me start to get into the criminal life? Is that what your question?
Just like the big time crimes like you used to do.
Oh. Well, that, of course, I was in the mob by starting with bookmaking, and then I was a bouncer. A bouncer is a doorman at a card game or a bar that throws the people out. You see the guy standing near the door.
People like in the movies and that.
Yeah, I'm a pretty big guy. I'm 240 now. I was big and great shape, and so I was the boss. I'm not the boss, the bouncer who would throw people out when they said, "Hey, if this," or you don't let people in because you got to worry about them robbing the card games. But the big crimes I did was by knowing the people and trusting the people who gave you the information.
Oh, okay.
Okay, that was question 2.
Mm-hmm. Okay, moving on to question 3. How did you decide what to steal? Like, did you take like a good moment? Like, this is worth a lot of money, but this is worth more in quantities, while this has less quantities.
All right, how did I decide to rob jewelry?
Yeah.
Well, at this point, at my age in the mob, I was robbing everything. I mean, we used to rob warehouses. We used to rob stores. We used to rob drug dealers. We used to rob everybody. And how it became jewel robbery is because the first robbery I ever did was a setup. That means the jewelry owner wanted to be robbed to get the insurance money.
Oh, so he like paid you?
Well, yes, he gave us, we ended up, not me, at the point it was my boss, ended up telling me that there's a guy in Florida who wanted to be robbed for the insurance money. So I would take the jewelry, and he gets all the insurance money. Now, the caveat to that, which means the little hook in this game is his worker can't know. Nobody could know. Obviously, he's the owner. He knew, but he wasn't going to be there. So what happened was I had to case the place, which means, check it out, the exact same way I had a case that place exactly like if the owner didn't know. Of course, in fact, when I did rob that first store, I knew everything. See, he gave us the inside information. He gave us the information that there was one person there, what time the mail came, that I expected no packages from a special delivery. So I didn't have to sit there and watch it as close as I do normally. But what I will say is that the lady, when I went into the store to rob the store, it was approximately 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock in the morning. Okay. The lady behind the counter actually went and reached for a gun. And I jumped the counter so fast that I got her. And I said, "Are you an idiot? I mean, what do you know?" And then I tied her up, and then she was done. So my first quick robbery on doing jewelry stores was actually somebody going for a gun. But I was too quick and big and strong that they couldn't do any of it. No. So that was the end of that. That was question 3.
Now, moving on to question 4. Where and how did you sell what you stole? Like, was it like people who like wanted it? Like how did you sell it? Like where and how?
Very good question. From a 12-year-old, no less. Do you know what a fence is?
A bank?
No, okay. A fence is a middleman who will accept stolen property and knows somebody who will buy it.
So like stealing like a random TV or like cigars, like a bunch of them, like from a warehouse?
Kind of like that. What a fence does is matches a person who has stolen goods and you trust him to a person who will buy stolen goods, because both of those acts are illegal. Even to purchase stolen property is a crime. And to sell stolen property, obviously, is a crime.
Isn't that like laundering?
No. Money laundering is when you take good money. Maybe you have a legitimate business that's working, and that's good. So when you wash money, the money I get from an illegal purchase, I want to launder it. I want to make it clean money. So one way we did that was we'd go to a casino.
And gamble it away?
Well, not exactly. I would go there and put $50,000 into the cage. That's the way, you can do that. And then when I wanted money, I would go to a table and I would say, I want $10,000 on my marker, because they know I have $50,000 in the cage. They would give me the chips. I would win or lose. And if I won, I would keep the chips. And then
I know how gambling works.
But then I would have somebody else take these chips to the cage, or take them and put them in the cage. And then if I won, they would say, "Oh, here it is, the record. He won X amount of dollars." And I would actually pay tax on that money. But that's what it got me, because I didn't pay tax.
Oh, did you usually like play roulette? Sometimes you didn't have to do a lot.
No, gambling is gambling. I didn't just throw it away. I mean, I gambled mostly baccarat, blackjack.
I know blackjack. I know how to play it also.
There you go. That's one game I would play. I would also play baccarat. Baccarat is another game you wouldn't know. It's based on the number 9. It's a whole entire process to teach somebody. But it's the game where high rollers. A high roller is a person who has a lot of money and bets a lot. I used to bet $1,000 every hand. Every hand.
So you were a high roller.
Right. $10,000, $5,000, $3,000 a hand.
I know what a hand is like.
Yeah, so one hand I'd bet $2,000, $3,000.
That's a lot.
That is a lot. That's why the casino wants you there.
Even for today, that's still a lot. Even back then,
it was more. Exactly.
It was way more.
Yeah, and that was in I am talking the early 90s, late 80s, early 90s. So oh, wow. 30 years ago.
Moving on to question 5. What did you do with what you, stole, whenever you, didn't sell it? What did you do with it?
Well, everything I robbed, I sold, except for a few items. I would steal clocks. crazy as that sounded. I don't know why. But I would keep them. In fact, I have a show. If you went into my playlist, you could see a show of one of the clocks that I robbed. But all of the jewelry. Now, I would give a piece of here or there away, understanding jewelry. What I didn't sell, which was I always sold everything. Now, a few people would take a piece, or I would give gifts away. I would give a piece of earrings or like diamond earrings to my wife. Not obnoxious, not a very big number, meaning they're not big like a full carat. They might have been a half a carat.
That's a lot.
Now, with that, when I gave a diamond or a Rolex or something away, I had to make sure that that wasn't marked or a piece that could be picked out because it's specific. In other words, I would not give away a signature piece, they call those. A signature piece in diamonds is a piece that is specifically made. I had a bracelet made, Larry, in full diamonds. The whole thing was
How much did that cost?
Oh, about $30,000. But I wouldn't give that to my son.
Like, hey, here you go.
No, why? Because the cops can pick it out. It's a signature piece. A lot of actors, a lot of rappers, you see them with jewelry. Mm-hmm. That's called a signature piece. Now, I would rob that piece.
But not show it out in public.
No, I would sell it. And they could take the diamonds out of those pieces. But I gave pieces like, let's take a Rolex watch. A Rolex watch is a very nice watch. At that time, they were going for about $5,000, maybe $5,500, $6,000.
That's a lot.
But every single Rolex has a serial number inside the watch that you wouldn't know if you didn't open the watch and know what to look for. Now, I did. So I'm not going to give, let's say, Nick, the producer, a Rolex watch and not tell him, hey, Nick, you can't go to a jewelry store with this, because if you went to a jewelry store, they would open the back. That watch would be on what they call a registered list of stolen property. They would call the police, and now they're interviewing Nick. Hey, Nick, where'd you get this watch?
They would say, like, hey, like my friend Larry.
Well, I hope he wouldn't, and I don't think he would.
Yeah, no, that'd be snitching.
Well, if I gave it to him, it would, after I tell him, don't go to anybody but me for repairs, because I would take it to somebody I trusted. So when I gave jewelry away, any jewelry, I had to make sure that it could never come back to me. Got it?
Okay.
That's a good one.
Now moving on to, question 6. This one's, way off topic from your, jewelry thief. How did you feel in your near-death experience? Whenever the bullet went across your head.
That's a good question. I had a number of near-death experiences, not one.
I know.
So it's funny because at the time it's happening, whatever is happening to you, you become numb or you don't think about it and you move. I was worried about my brother at the time that the bullet went through my head, grazed me. It didn't hurt me, but my brother was hit. He had a bullet in him. So when you plan something very well and you get good at what you do and you want to execute it, you become a robot. The reason people practice so much, if you ever see the military, they're always doing military drills. If you ever see a football team, what do? Practice, practice, practice.
Tire jumps.
What you do, practice, but because it becomes second nature. The reason people practice is not because to know. You have to understand that when something goes wrong, you can still just keep playing that drum. When somebody hits a horn, you're not all discombobulated and you mess up. You're still playing that drum because that's what you know to do. Same with a robbery. When you get good at what you do, you have points of view. Entry, take down the people, look for the diamonds, exit, change the plate on the car. everything becomes second nature, so you don't have to think about it. So when that happened to me during a near-death experience, until afterwards, until everything's done, then you say to yourself, wow, that was a close one. Every one of them, like when I got hit by a car and my truck rolled 3 times, the paramedic said if they hit you a foot or a foot and a half forward, you were dead. That's how close you came to dying. And now you start thinking, wow, is your life okay? Did you do what you wanted to do in life? That's something I often suggest to young people. They should just do something they love because they never have regrets about it later.
And now moving on to 7. So why did you really team up with the mob? Like, besides, like, your heist and stuffs, like, is it because they, like, live near you? Like, you were, like, around them all the time? Or is it for another specific reason?
That's a very good question, again, from somebody from West Virginia. The reason I had to hook up with the mob was for protection. When you are associated with a criminal family, nobody else is going to come get you from the mob. All the people like in other families. I was connected with the Gambino crime family. So, but what about the Genovese crime family, the Lucchese crime family, the Colombo crime family, the Bonanno 5? That's the 5 families, and the Gambinos. They're the 5 families in New York. Now, we had a lot of criminals in all the crews. Now, they couldn't touch me. Because if you came to New York, you, Noah, and you wanted to start a bookmaking business or rob a jewelry store, and we found out about it, we would rob you.
Oh, yes, because I'm not in anything.
You don't have protection. I had protection.
So join one and then make one.
Well, you don't just join them either. They don't just say, hey, you know, you look like a nice guy. You going to go rob jewelry store someday?
Yeah, I know that.
So I had to join them because I understood the game. And you do not want to be not connected in robbing like New York City or anywhere. Because if I found out you were a robber in West Virginia and you were making millions of dollars, I'm going to take you hostage. And guess what, Noah? Mm-hmm. I'm going to get that money out of you. You think you're not going to tell me. I'll bet I'll make you tell.
Like, you had like a gun point blank to my head saying,
yeah, how about I have you strapped down and I take needles and put them in your eyes? Would you tell before I did that? I bet you would.
That would hurt a lot.
You think? Yes. So that is why I had to join a family.
Protection, right?
Protection.
Yeah, moving on to 8. Did you have to, like, ever dump the loot that you stole from, like, you were about to get caught? You're like, oh, no, we have to dump this now. Like,
great question from a young kid. No, never did I dump that loot. I'm going to shoot you before I dump that loot. I didn't have to. I understand what you're saying is even on my getaway, when I got to get away from my last robbery, dumping the loot wouldn't change the thing. So why get rid of the money? Because that's the money. Now, let's say it was drugs. Let's say I had 50 kilos of cocaine. I don't even know what cocaine is. If I had 50 kilos of cocaine, okay, and the cops were chasing me, I would try to dump as much as I can. And the reason being, because understanding the law, what happens is it goes by weight.
The less you have,
the less time you're going to get. Or like if they caught me with 1 kilo compared to 100 kilos.
If you had 100 kilos, they'd probably think you're like what's his name?
No.
Like, moving on to 9. Oh, wait, you kind of already answered this one, but, like, did you, like, steal, like, only jewelry, like, in your, like, bigger heist? Because that's, like, later on, because you also explained in, like, your videos. Later on, you said you practically only targeted jewelry because jewelry was worth a lot.
Very, very good question. A real criminal, which sadly I was, I guess. That's not sad. It is fact. It's what it is. Anything that's worth money. I could have robbed $1 million artworks. and I called some people in New York and said, I can get some Rembrandts and Picassos, and that one's worth 2.5 million, the other worth $1 million. Should I rob it? And they said, hold on, call me back. I called them back in a couple hours. He said, nope. They couldn't get 3 cents on a dollar. That means if a picture is worth $1 million, 3% of $1 million is what? $30,000. 3% of $1 million.
That's like 3,000.
No, it's 30,000.
Oh, okay.
But that's okay. No, it wouldn't be worth it because the heat that they're going to bring on you is not going to be worth it.
You're going to have a big bounty on your head because of a art piece that can't really be recreated.
You know, I guess you could call it a bounty. I mean, they always have a bounty on your head, but now you're going to get a private investigator. You're going to get a private, you know, these art galleries hire private, and they give out big rewards. If they get hit for $50 million in art, you're going to see, oh, we're going to give a $2 million reward for the capture of the guy who did this and the return of that art.
Because that art's practically priceless.
Well, 50. They robbed artwork in Germany right now. I think it's considered the biggest robbery ever, and it's I think $1 billion or priceless worth of stuff that was in glass cases. But it's when they say priceless, I try to explain to people what they mean. Noah, is it can't be replaced.
Yeah, like the Mona Lisa.
Exactly, the original Mona Lisa can't be replaced, or a picture of Jesus, you know, or a picture of, let's take not modern day sports, Babe Ruth. If you had a Babe Ruth signed baseball, obviously you can't get that again. It has a value, not so much priceless, but it has a value. Now they have pieces from the Queen of England's crown. That's priceless. There's so much. The number gets so high, it is just priceless, and it can't be replaced. That's what makes it so valuable. But to your question on number 9, I robbed anything I could. Now, later in life, when I had a lot of money, I didn't go after little stuff.
You aimed after the big shots.
Either it's going to be mega worthy or it's going to be a jewelry store. Exactly. I'm not going to... Listen, I robbed warehouses of plumbing supplies. I robbed wedding dresses.
That's weird.
I robbed boats. You name it, I robbed it.
You robbed boats?
I actually, yes. If you want to consider it robbing, I never robbed one out of the water. I mean, in the water, I would rob a boat from the side of a guy's house because it's on his trailer, and it's got a hitch. No, I would back up a truck, cut whatever thing he had. Most people, believe it or not, don't even lock their hitch. So you can back up it and within a minute, put it on there and drive away. Besides clocks that I just robbed because I like to rob, from a boat to cash, of course, to guns, to you name it. If it's worth money, I robbed it. I robbed a warehouse. I robbed of plumbing supplies. I robbed drug dealers. I robbed a wedding dress company. I robbed a restaurant. We robbed, friends robbed the guy who we figured out the guy who walks to the bank with the bag at the end of a night of a grocery store and has a lot of cash. We'll rob him. So we robbed whatever we can. But later in life, when you asked if I did it, I would rob things only if it was worth it. Of course, you grow, and you do grow out. Like right now, I won't rob anybody or do anything.
Right now?
No, I'm not going to rob anybody. Right now. Don't worry, you're safe.
On to the next question.
Is this the last question,
the last
number 10?
question.
Okay.
How did you really start out stealing? Not like your whole thing. Just like start out like stealing. Like start to like go up. Like when if the FBI started like, hey, this guy's actually.
Well, again, you say guy. When I first started, I was like any other kid. Most of you kids shoplift. Did you ever shoplift something?
Once when I was
Okay.
10.
Did you ever steal like a pencil off the teacher's desk?
Countless times. I still do it to this day.
Well, that's stealing,
I go.
allegedly. But yes,
I don't think you get locked up for it.
I don't know. One of those pencils I heard had gold in it, and it was worth a lot of money.
I'll give it back.
I'll give it back. Doesn't work that way, Noah. As a 12-year-old, you're going to learn there's going to be a consequence whether you give it back or not. But it's some plan at all. It's not bad. Okay, you have a plan. Stealing, I started out as a kid shoplifting, and then we used to steal meats and lobsters and stuff out of grocery stores and then sell them. What I tried to tell young people when I was a criminal is you could steal anything. We did. I stole cars at 14 and 15. We were stealing cars. So my thing my thing was you could steal anything, but you have to make sure you have a place to get rid of it. We didn't also have the technology they have today.
Yeah, like we're like go on eBay and be anonymous.
Well, no, I don't even mean get rid of it. I meant like OnStar, GPS on things. You can buy little wallet stuff, so if you lost your wallet, they could follow you home.
Oh, yeah.
You know that technology. Do you know technology?
A lot of it.
A lot of it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this is the hacker, Nick. This is the hacker, Nick.
Loved it.
This is the hacker, Nick.
I actually have shut down a website once.
Okay.
So you're in maximum security.
Yes. Now, it might take a little bit for you to get there, but
It's going to take a lot for you to get there.
not you. If you keep up the stuff you're doing, you're going to go to where I was. And then what are you going to do when some big old 250-pound black guy comes up to you and says, hey, boy, I want that booty. What are you going to do then?
I'm sorry.
What are you going to do?
Pocket gun.
Okay, explain to me what a pocket gun is.
A 3mm gun in my pocket.
A 3mm. Now, how are you going to get a 3mm
Like, I'm talking
gun
about, like, the
into
guns.
prison?
Oh, I wasn't talking about prison.
Well,
you never said in prison. You just said
Okay. Now you're doing your crime you think you can get away with. You go to prison, and old Bubba comes, hey, boy. Hey, boy.
yeah.
I want you, boy. What are you going to do?
I can't do anything if he's like, oh, I have to
So you're just going to submit?
No.
So what are you going to do?
Grab his balls.
Okay.
Like,
It's
I'm
a
gonna-
start. It's
I'm
a
gonna
start.
Go down and go yank.
You better hope that works, or he's going to take you and split you right open and stab you and kill you. I've seen it happen.
You've seen it?
Absolutely. So now, like I said, I wanted to end your questions to me, and I wanted to thank you for asking those questions. I'm going to have you back on a different show to ask different questions because I like them. They were about my robberies and my career. But Noah, appreciate that.